Hello, my name's Peter Kenny. This is the second in my little horror series of videos. Today is a very short monologue in a horror tradition, first published in 1993 in this magazine Iron. Very important for me because it started me writing plays after I wrote this. So, without further ado, I'd like to give you Someone Else's Patch. They say there's someone who looks like me. He lives in my area and people know him well. Strangers raise their hands in passing cars. Strangers almost greet me in the streets, and I've seen him in a shop assistant's second glance. I've begun to worry if he's mistaken for me, because now my area is someone else's patch, and though it's like the back of my hand, I'm sometimes lost on the sixth finger of a familiar street, struck suddenly by the number of a door he might pass through. On Guy Fawkes night, I glimpsed a man in a hat crossing the street as a firework burst above. It had been a cold, hard day. Left hand didn't know what the right was doing, something like that, and jumping jacks cracked a random passage in the nearby park. It was then I had to hide, so I walked to the bonfire to stand in the bright heat. My face ached. I discovered I was smiling, and then I saw him through the flames. So I moved round to greet him, but he was moving too, like an alternative Earth, always on the other side of the sun. I orbited the crowd through the smells of the barbecue, the static crack of sausages, but I never made contact. Then I saw him flicker through the sycamores, disrupting the verticals of their trunks like he was a kind of corruption, a scratch or a fault on a silent movie. Leaving the bonfire, I stalked into the cold, saw my breath in a cloud mix with the reek of gunpowder, and I thought of my ancestors, dead in many countries, and I wondered whether some of them were his. If his genes were partly mine, the same nose perhaps, the same hands, or if the same dead people came to him in dreams. The next night we passed in a pub doorway, and I saw he was indeed a bit like me. And I was struggling to say something, but I said nothing and he said nothing. It was a provocation. He tried to slip away, white-faced into the park, to join the grainy shadows. So I hunted him. I could see he was terrified as I began to close, and that made me glad and dangerous. And when I had almost caught him, almost colliding, he said, "No, not yet, not ever." So for now, somehow, he had escaped. But this is my patch, and he's got to go. He's got to go for good.